Hi, everybody, and welcome to our podcast and our video called DoD Secure. And here you will get information on how to get security clearances, how to get government contracts, and how to process classified information. So welcome. I know there's other places you can visit and other training you can go to, as well as other podcasts. So we really appreciate you being here. For those of you who have been involved for a while, thank you so much for continuing to watch our videos and listen to our podcasts. I just wanted to let you know that we were recently featured on the clearancejobs.com Facebook page. So go to clearancejobs.com and open up that live feed, and you'll be able to watch the video of us. And in that video, we're talking about this book, and the host, I loved it because she actually read the book and asked some really good questions on security clearances and even quoted some of the things that I wrote. So that was very exciting. So those of you who are not watching the video but hearing the podcast, I'm just holding up my book called The Insider's Guide to Security Clearances, which was featured. Just wanted to tell you, if you want a copy of this book, go to redbikepublishing.com and we're giving them away free. We're just asking that you pay for the shipment, because that's a lot for me to be able to foot by myself. So if you'll just pay for the shipment, go to redbikepublishing.com and click on the tab that says free plus shipping. So today we're going to talk about a few topics. We're going to talk about how an FSO can prepare their facility once they get their facility security clearance and personnel security clearance, how the newly cleared defense contractor can begin acting as a possessing facility and begin to receive classified information, and what they should think about. And additionally, we'll just crosswalk on how a cleared defense contractor prepares classified information for delivery, whether it's somebody hand walking it out, mailing it, or sending a fax or whatever. We'll discuss on how to do that. If you're just listening on the podcast, I'll be descriptive as I can, but I will include in the show notes links that we talk about on this podcast, as well as a way for you to be able to go through and trying to get my mic adjusted, able to go through and hit the link on our YouTube page. So let's go in to see what you can expect once you become a newly cleared facility. First of all, you're going to get a few things. You're going to get a DD Form 254, a statement of work, and a security classification guide as a result of winning the contract and beginning to perform on a contract. Don't know if you'll get those in order or what order you'll get them in, but they will be flowed down from either the prime contractor that you are subcontracting to, or from the government contracting activity that you are a contractor for. So whatever goods or services you are providing, you'll get a few things: a statement of work that describes the work that you will be doing for them, and the DD Form 254 that explains how you are to, what classified information you are going to be working with, where you will work with it, and the classification level that you will be approved to do. So let me show you real quick what a DD Form 254 looks like. These are the first and second pages. The first page of the DD Form 254 looks a little bit like this right here. You're going to get something from the either government contracting activity or from the, I'm trying to move some things out of the way so I can see it a little bit better. And so what I'm bringing up for those of you listening on the podcast is what a DD Form 254 looks like. And the main things is to notice here is what's the classification level you'll be working with. And this is a drop-down menu: confidential, secret, and top secret. Level of safeguarding. So this is only to be filled out if you are going to be a possessing facilities. Remember, facility clearances are possessing and non-possessing. Non-possessing is means that you're going to be cleared and get a classification, a security clearance for your personnel and the facility to be able to work with classified information at another site, either at your government's office or at your customer's office or somewhere off site. And then the rest of this is going to be administrative right here. So I just want to go over the important parts of it. So levels 1 and 2, items 1 and 2 describe this classification level and the and whether or not you're going to be able to conduct work on site. Block 8 goes into actual performance location, the cage code, and the cognizant security office. So in our case, for the DoD and many other agencies, it's going to be the Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency, the DCSA. And number 9 describes generally what is going to be involved in this on this classified work. Block 10, I'm going to share this real quick. That's in the block 9. So we are going to share block 10. So now we are looking at block 10, and it describes if you are working on security clearance issues on classified contract, will you have communications, ComSec, restricted data, SINWITI, special access. I'm not going to read all these blocks, but it tells you if there are going to be other security considerations or classification considerations. As I'm showing you this, I want you to get in your head as either somebody that is becoming a clear defense contractor facility, or you have a facility, or you have a security clearance, or you're a new FSO. This is where the earlier you get involved in this process, the better, because it's going to describe how you need to set up your facility. You might recall on some earlier podcasts that the government will pay for all the security clearance investigations and make sure that you have the classified material that you need to perform on your job. But you, as a clear defense contractor, are responsible for setting up your home security program. So if it requires security containers, closed areas, sensitive compartment information facilities, computers, hardware, there are a lot of supplies that you will need, and you should build into your bid, or at least be prepared to purchase these once you get this classified information. So as I go over the restricted data, right now these tell you that in some of these instances you will have separate protection measures, and they can't mingle with other security documents or classified documents. We talk about any additional activities or accounts you might need. And security guidance in 13 gets a little bit more specific. So use this form. I went over it very generally. I go more in depth in the book, DoD Security Clearance and Contracts Guidebook. And the other one is How to Perform on U.S. Government Contracts and Classified Work. And so those two books out there explain the DD Form 254 in depth. I also have training at BennettInstitute.com that you can take a look at. But all right, so let's talk about what a FSO might need as a minimum to be able to receive classified information. First of all, you need a place to work. And does that mean a classified computer, a closed areas, a restricted area? So you'll need to designate or dedicate some space to work on classified material. And that requires construction sometimes. The next thing you need to consider is how will you store that classified information? Will it be in a GSA security container, or sometimes we commonly call a safe? How many safes will you need? What type of safes will you need? Will you need one with a lock on each door, on each drawer, or one with just one lock? Do you need 5 drawers? Do you need 1 drawer? So those are the things you're going to need. And the DD Form 254 will tell you, because it should tell you how many documents you will receive from your customer. So some other things that you will need is, especially is if you get security containers or doors, you'll need something like this. It is a magnet that reminds you if this might be upside down, if your container is closed, If it says closed, it's like this, it should be locked. And if it's open, on the open side is red with white letters. The closed side is white with red letters. That should warn you that your security container is open. Before you leave it, you need to lock it up. So this is a helpful reminder. There is something else I dropped down here too. This is a combination reminder. It looks like a telephone keypad, and used to be a rotary dial, but then they became square, and now it looks more like what you might find on a cell phone. But the whole point is here, you should memorize your combinations. You should not write them down anywhere because the combinations are classified. They're classified to the level of what the combination protects. So some people spell out a word and then make the number combination correspond with that word. It could be a 6-letter word or the first 6 letters or the last 6 letters of a larger word. Either way, it's up to you. All right, so those are some items that you need. Now, if you are doing classified work and you know that you're going to have to remove classified information from your facility, you'll need a few supplies as well. Many of these supplies are envelopes of some sort, durable wrapping tape. It's got lines in it. You may not be able to see the strings, but it's rip proof. Maybe some boxes of some sort. Some additional wrapping paper. And stamps. These stamps help you mark your classified packages or stuff. It has a classification level on them. So let's talk about what happens when you win the contract and you've got your infrastructure in place, you've got your security containers, and now all the classified information is starting to arrive. All right, so maybe your customer mails the classified information. I'm using some old material that I had used before when I did some classes at college. You should receive, if classified information comes either mailed, hand carried, or whatever from your customer, from somebody that's authorized to send it to you, you'll receive an outer envelope. And on that outer envelope, you should have an address for who it came from. It should be a generic address, not by anybody's name. It should be like, here we have commander on it, or you might say security on it, and then who it's to. So it might have a position name on there. This one says to the FSO, but there should be nothing on this envelope that indicates whether or not the contents are classified. So I'm getting to a point here in a minute where this is just an outer envelope. And we're going to build this in reverse as I tell you how to disseminate information from your facility. So the outer envelope, we have the sides taped up, the seams taped up with this durable tape or this rip-proof tape, so that we can determine if there's any tamper. If this tape is loose or floppy like this when it arrives, it might indicate that somebody had looked inside, and you might need to do an inventory and an investigation on what was released. So here's a better example of a well-wrapped envelope. This whole envelope is covered in tape. All right, so you might receive this with what I said. So the first thing you might find inside is 2 copies of a receipt. I don't have 2 copies to show you, but there should be 2 copies of receipt. And on that receipt should be the name of the item and the classification level of the item. But the name itself should not be classified. But look at that receipt. If the name is classified, you're going to have to protect that receipt as classified. If it's unclassified, you can just file it as appropriate. But I recommend that you put it in an information management system. I've used SIM software. It's really good. There's other ones. You can also just use an Excel spreadsheet if you're small enough. But the whole point is to log in all classified information and where you store it. And then if you ever have it leave your facility, log that disposition too. So when DCSA comes around and they say, we need to see your documents within a reasonable amount of time, according to NISPOM standards, you can look at that IMS and know exactly where it is. It's in the 3rd safe on the 1st drawer, for example. So you should have that much detail in there. So then you enter in the receipt information and you take the inner layer of the classified information. Now this is different, right? You see the difference on here. It has the classification level of the document inside. I want you to know right now, I do not have classified information at my house. It's just an envelope I made at home. So that's why it's not in the best shape, because I don't have all the materials I need here. But you see, I do have a stamp, I have labels, and I have tape. Things that you need to consider when you run your security program. And so the next thing that you do when you receive this is inspect the inner. Make sure it has an address on there. Now this is a more intimate address. It has a person's name in it, so that the security administrator will know who it goes to once they receive this. And it's got the markings, and you want to inspect for evidence of tamper. This one looks closed up. And then what you'll do is open it up and review the document. There's, again, no classified documents are in here. So the classification should be on the top and bottom. If it had sides, it'd have sides. On here, I left it off. I used it for a test. So again, but there are no classified information in here. There is no classified information in this package. So what I'm showing here is, if you're on the podcast, is a manila envelope wrapped in, excuse me, wrapped in tape, rip-proof tape, with a label that specifically lists who sent it by name and who it is going to by name. And it has a classification marking on the top and the bottom of it. Again, if you need to see the video for further instruction, it's in the show notes. All right, so once you do that, you open the package, look at the classified document, and make sure it matches what was sent on the receipt. All right, so let's see. So once you receive classified information, you log it in and you start working with it and protecting it. And it's all based on the statement of work, the security classification guide that lists what is classified and what level it is and what elements are classified. And then the DD Form 254, which tells you the classification level of your facility and the classification level of what you're authorized to work on that facility if it is indeed a possessing facility. And then we went over some of the tools. Now, let's do this in reverse. Let me show you how to prepare a package for mailing. All right, so you take your classified information and you log it out of your IMS. You want to acknowledge that this document is leaving your facility, so you don't have to account for it anymore. And you want to acknowledge on there how if you're mailing it. So there are ways that you can mail classified information. And again, it's in my book, DoD Security Clearance and Contracts Guidebook, and how to win U.S. government contracts and perform on classified work. It gets specific. It's also in the NISPOM. How you want to mail things or courier them is specifically by classification level. So what you want to do is put your classified information into a manila envelope and then wrap it with that rip-proof tape. Put the classification level on the front and back of the envelope. Put 2 receipts either inside of this inner envelope or on top of the inner envelope. Then, after you make sure it's addressed properly to the right person and to the approved classified mailing address, you prepare it and wrap it in a vanilla standard envelope that does not provide the classification level. Wrap it up. You notice there's no classification level on here. It's just marked and with tamper-proof tape. And then put another label on it that's more generic. Again, log it out of your IMS and bring it to the mailing facility that is appropriate for it. Also, I mentioned this book already, and I just want to show you. In this book, deep in the heart of it, talks about how to receive classified information, how to prepare your facility for classified, to reception of classified information, and how to disseminate it. And inside here, I made this handy guide, and I'm going to make it available online that if you register for our newsletter, you'll get a copy of it. But it lists step by step how to prepare a document for shipment. And again, it's this book. It's available on our website. But the first 5 people that go on my website and register on any one of my forms, there's a form on my website at redlightpublishing.com, and you register for it, I will send you this book. and I'll be notified. So the first 5 people that do that, please do that, and I'll send you an email in return. After you register, you'll be registering for our reading list, and you'll receive our newsletters. But I will also contact you and get your mailing address so I can send you a paperback copy of this book. This book, or this one, either way, I'll ask you which book you would prefer. Yeah, that's it. So I would like to thank you again for joining us. I'll be back again next week for another version of this podcast and video. If you have any questions ever, just email me at editor@redbikepublishing.com. But I would appreciate if you'd support this show by going to our website and looking at what we have, as well as registering on our form and be including in our reading list. I promise you, you won't be let down. The articles are really good. They reflect what you can expect, how to get a classified contract, how to get a security clearance, how to perform on work on classified contracts, and so much more. Until next time,